Hey everyone, it's Shaheen from ShaheenMiroInsights.com, and I'm going to be doing the intuitive forecast for the upcoming week of January the 16th. I hope this message finds you well, and I hope you're having a magical 2017 so far. I know it's been a long time since I've had a chance to chat with all of you, and I just, hope that you're doing really well. It has been kind of a storm for the past month, just with the holidays and personal things going on, and trying to move through the retrograde and wrap things up as the year is coming to an end. So, unfortunately, I needed to take some time to take care of myself and to address some things that were going on with my family and just with life. So everything is good and wonderful, and there's lots of blessings and magic in the air. And I hope you guys are feeling that same sense of magic and relief. I know there are some very trying things that are ahead of us as far as the governmental stuff that's happening, political stuff that's happening. And as I said before, we've been in this time of great shadow work where we're really facing the darkness and the shadow, the forgotten parts, the unacknowledged things that exist in our collective shadow as a society and as individuals. And something that I've noticed is that 2016 was the year of the Hermit in the Tarot, and it was about this sort of inward journey, a time of introspection and self-reflection, a time of really looking at what's happening on the inside and under the surface, and what's driving us as individuals and, again, as a collective of people, as a society, as a country, as a planet. And this year, 2017, is the year of the Wheel of Fortune in the Tarot. So it's about change and movement, it's about progress, and it's about this sort of transition from one phase or chapter or point of view to another. And for me, I've interpreted it as this shift from the internal, seeing where our intentions are driven from, to the external, where we're driving them to. So in a way, you can look at it as this two-part combination that we use for manifesting. Intention plus action is what creates, is what manifests things in our lives. So 2017 is about going big, it's about being louder, being bolder, being braver. It's about putting yourself out there and being unapologetic and a little bit infamous and risky, if you will. So I hope that that energy is inviting you into a different groove, a different rhythm, a different flow, and allowing you to step into something that feels a bit more personally empowering. And I hope that you're able to also partner with other people who are part of your collective or your tribe that you feel can add to the things that you're bringing out into the world. That's another part of this shift that I'm sensing, is that it's not just about what we're doing as individuals, but because this is a time of looking at the collective, it's also about how we're working with one another. As a whole, all of us connected together, every single person on the planet, because we are energetically, but also how we're connected to our personal tribe, group of people, our little coven of individuals that we feel understand us, our dreams, our fears, our vulnerabilities, and can help us charge forward. A book that I have been reading, which is a classic in sort of feminist, pagan spirituality circles, is called Dreaming the Dark by Starhawk. And I have always loved Starhawk and her messages and her perspective. And reading this book has really been very insightful for me, and has kind of affirmed a lot of things that I felt and believed and really have responded to internally about the world right now. So I urge you to check it out or go read some quotes or something from that book because it's pretty profound and it's pretty appropriate for the time we're in, even though it was written in the 80s, which wasn't that long ago. But, you know, it feels like it's for right now. So, before we do the intuitive forecast for the upcoming week, I want to pull a card and look at just the theme of energy, sort of the overarching intuitive current that's happening in January. And I know we're almost through January, but this will still give us some insight. And I actually have switched to, just for this video, a different deck than what I normally use. And this is a Doreen Virtue tarot deck, which isn't necessarily my favorite, but I think sometimes it's good to look at things from a different perspective, and using a different deck and a different approach is always very eye-opening to our practice and how we relate to the cards and to the images and to our own intuition. So always looking at life upside down and sideways from a different perspective. Using a new deck does that for me. So the first card we have is called the Seven of Winter. And there's a message that's on the card which I will read to you. It says, "There is a better choice, not seeing things clearly, running away from the truth." And it shows this girl who is ice skating, or she's a fairy, she's ice skating in a very beautiful, crystalline, icy winter scene. I mean, everything is just covered in ice and snow and just frozen. And she seems very lost in her exploration of just dancing and skating and just being in that flow. And what I find really interesting about this card is that in this sort of whitewashed scene where there's just lots of ice and everything is just feels very cold, literally cold, there's a little bit of sunlight back here in the corner. And so I find this fascinating that we are in winter right now. And what I am sensing is that we're in a place right now where things feel really ambiguous to us, or we feel like we're in the dark about a lot of different areas in our lives as individuals and as a society. And there is a tendency to want to turn away from the things that we feel confused about, or turn away from the unknown out of fear that we might find out something that we don't like, or out of fear that we're going to realize how powerless we are, or out of fear that we're going to realize how powerful we actually are. So I think right now this is a reminder that there are different actions that we can take as individuals in our lives that can affect us personally and, you know, externally in society, globally, politically. And these actions are things that we're always taking a step toward, whether we're conscious of it or not. But the more intentional we are, the more change that we can create, the more good we can add to. So this is about consciousness. It's about being really clear about what you're putting into the world. And it's also realizing that despite how gray or how desolate or cold things may appear, despite how unfeeling things may appear or unfriendly, there is always warmth and light that's coming back, or that's going to come up from the darkness. So be aware of that. Now, the next card we have, which is for this week, is the Six of Autumn. And it says, "The good you do comes back to you, an unexpected inflow of money, borrowing wisely, or repaying a debt." And I think that this week is going to be about, it's going to be about abundance, it's going to be about finances, it's going to be about our material world, in the sense that we're looking at our responsibilities, we're looking at our security, and we're looking at how we can add to that. And one of the things that I'm getting from this is that This is talking about a time to wrap things up, and it's talking about having the resources, whether that be the money, the time, the energy, just the opportunities to wrap things up and to get things moving forward, or to bring things to an end so something else can begin. And I think that that's something that we're feeling because the retrograde, the Mercury retrograde, has come to an end, so communication is feeling more fluid. And I've already noticed this personally, and I feel like this is something that we're going to see individually in all the areas of our lives. But I do want to say that I feel with work and with career opportunities this week, things might feel a bit lagged, but there is some magic happening under the surface. There are going to be opportunities where people are really hearing you, or they're really acknowledging you, whether you realize it or not. Which brings us to the next card, the Prince of Autumn, and it says he is dependable, he's protective, he's chivalrous, and he's humorous. And it says cautious but wise action, meticulous attention to details, kindness to others. And it shows another fairy prince who is in this beautiful but also a little bit ominous landscape. And it's autumn, and there's lots of rich colors, lots of darker colors, and he's really ready for action. He has a wand that's lit at the end, it's illuminated, it feels like a lit candle to me. And what I'm sensing from this is that he is not only the mindset that we're moving into about being dependable and being action oriented and about moving forward and having clear direction, but it's also talking about he is a person who's coming into your life that has those same qualities. So again, this could be the person that's seeing and acknowledging you from a work or career standpoint that you might not realize is there, but you are on their radar. And we have another prince. We have the Prince of Winter, and he's a little bit of a renegade, it seems like. It says intellectual, determined, focused, impulsive. Seek out an intellectual solution to your problems. The need to act quickly and decisively, sudden or unexpected changes. And he is in the midst of winter with nothing on but a little vest and little tights, which I like that. And he's on a sled that is driven by this little, I don't know, maybe that's a mouse, I don't know what he is. Anyways, they're in the midst of action. They're going down a hill full force. They might encounter a log, they might encounter a cliff, who knows? But he is quick action, he's quick on his feet. He is very much able to articulate, to calculate, and to perceive what's happening around him, so that even when a sudden change comes, he's ready for it. And this is a quality that I feel we are really embodying, that you are really embodying this week. And so this is talking about even when you're coming up against a block, even if you're coming up against an unknown place in your life, which feels like it could be with work or career, seeing that that's what the other cards are talking about, you might have to think on your feet and shift quickly. Use that time, use the energy, use the opportunity or the lack thereof to your best advantage right now. Not thinking necessarily about, okay, but what's the next month gonna hold, but really about the right now. Being in the moment and being able to be decisive and quick is going to benefit you greatly. All right, I hope that that was insightful for you. I'm glad that I'm back in your lives and that I can add some magic and some insight, and I hope that you're enjoying the new year. I hope that you're enjoying yourself, taking care of yourself. This is the time of self-care, if there ever is one. So be good to your bodies, be good to your spirits, be good to your hearts, and be good to the people around you. This is the time to take care of yourselves and also to put love out there. That helps you manifest, helps you bring in more. So take care of yourself. Have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next time.